Hi there folks, my name's NovaWin24 and welcome to my first little preview video for the upcoming Microsoft Flight Simulator. So, this is the first in a series of videos that I'm going to bring up in the run-up to the release of this exciting new sim, where we're going to go through some of the things that I think are kind of cool and hopefully answer some of the questions that you as our future virtual aviators also have about the new sim. So as I said, this is my first video and it was really tough for me to think about what was going to be my first video, and the one that what I've decided to do in the end is that I'm going to go back to where it started for me, this journey with Microsoft started for me, which is here at Renton Municipal in the beautiful state of Washington, when I was very fortunate enough to be part of the Microsoft preview event. So accordingly, with this as well, I want to say a huge thank you to Microsoft for giving me a chance to be able to bring this to you, to be able to get a hands-on with the sim before it goes live, and to be able to bring this content to you today. So without any further ado, let's get started. Alright, so one of the things that I really want to do, as I said, to get this video started, is that I want to as I said, I was trying to figure out what to do, so I want to recreate a flight that I took when I was here at Renton. So let's see how this goes. And we'll see how the flight models change and how things are exciting. Now, let's get ourselves underway, because one of the things I love about this is the checklists. So let's jump over the pre-flight inspection. We'll assume that we've done that. Let's go to the engine checklist one. So before engine starts. So first off, we're going to do so we're going to test our brakes. All good. Our parking brake is set. Okay, circuit breaker is all pushed, electric equipment is off, bus 1 and 2 is off, fuel selector set to both, shut-off valve is open. Alright, let's go to our starting engine checklist. Alright, so first things first, we're going to need to open up our throttles 1/4 inch. Alright, and then we are going to move our mixture to idle cutoff, which it is. Alright, standby battery, do our standby battery test first. Make sure the test lamp comes up. Looking good. Alright, now we will arm that. Go PFD on. Alright. All engine parameters look good. Fuel is good. We've got 24 volts coming through on there. That's looking good. Amps is discharging. Standby battery annunciator is on. Alright, prop area is clear. Turn our master battery and alternator switches to on. Turn our beacon on. Mixture set to full rich. Aux fuel pump to on. Get some fuel into the engine. Alright, mixture to lean it a little bit. And then ready to brake, and then turn our ignition to start. Back Renton, to both afterwards.
Cessna November, Oscar, Victor, Alpha 2, 4,
done. Haha. This, I must admit, this pushback thing is kind of weird and kind of cool. I've never seen it at an airport in Australia, so this is kind of novel when I saw this one. All right, let's give one in the meantime. We do our post checklist. Get our avionics buses on. These glasses do look kind of cool. Though we do have a guy apparently blending through walls over there. Alright. That was fine. Low volts annunciator is off. Buses are on. Flaps are up. Alright. Now we will put our taxi lighting on today, put our nav light on as well. Strobe is set to on. Go. Once we've finished our pushback, we'll do our brake test. Now for this little video, I do have the my AI co-pilot handling the radio transmissions, just so I can focus on flying for you guys today. Now the cockpit of this Cessna 172 is obviously a full G1000 setup, and we'll have a look at that and play with that a little bit once we're up in the sky over here in Washington. Because one of the other reasons, apart from wanting to recreate this flight here in Renton, is that it was always known as a good performance tester for any of the Microsoft Flight Simulator family, was to actually take it for a flight around Washington, around Seattle. So it's one of the things that I wanted to do today. So my computer specs are sort of, you know, reasonably good, but definitely not the absolute top end. So I want to be able to give you guys a chance to experience to see what a real user feels like when we get to fly with the Microsoft Flight Simulator. Probably helps if I took the parking brake off to be able to help him with our pushback. That probably would have helped.
Renton ground, Cessna November Oscar Victor Alpha 24 requesting the end of pushback. Cessna November Oscar Victor Alpha 24 request to end pushback received.
There we go, and brakes work. Good to do.
Renton ground, Cessna November Oscar Victor Alpha 24 request taxi for straight out departure with Alpha.
Cessna
November Oscar Victor Alpha 24 taxi to and hold short of runway 34 via taxiway Alpha Alpha 4 Alpha Alpha 7. Contact tower on 124.7 when ready.
There we go. Okay. So
Taxiing hold short runway 34 via taxiway Alpha Alpha 4 Alpha Alpha 7 Cessna Alpha 24.
there we go. So we got our interactive parking, interactive that on. Taxiing on. As much as I wanted to make this exactly as I said, so this is currently running live weather for this one, so it actually has meant that didn't end up departing on the runway that I was hoping that we would depart on. Well, that's okay. But one of the things that we can see straight away is that the integration of the G1000 complete with this, the awareness system that's built into it, is really, really useful. And it's one of those things that I never really appreciated as much as I do now that I have access to it real time. Now I know that, you know, for our ESP family of sims, Canada's had it for a while as an add-on, but now having it as default, as standard in the G1000 setups in this sim, I see how much of an awesome, a real-world effective aviation tool that it is. Alright. Now, while we're taxiing, let's make sure we turn our pitot heat on, because looking at that weather out there, we're going to need it. Alright. So it's really interesting to be able to fly out of this airport, having actually now physically flown an aircraft, a Cessna 172 G1000 out of this airport. It'll be really interesting to see how it feels actually flying through here. Now, I'm pretty sure there wasn't an A320neo there when we flew out of there. Now, as I said before, I am running live weather, live traffic, so I do have feeds. We've actually got some real world traffic up there in the sky over there. Just taxiing along here. To our hold short point.
Renton Tower, Cessna November Oscar Victor Alpha 24 ready at runway 34 straight out departure. Cessna November Oscar Victor Alpha 24 cleared for takeoff runway 34 straight out departure approved.
Alright, now what we will do is we'll do a quick run up.
Cleared for takeoff runway 34 Cessna Alpha 24.
Okay, so let's go. Parking brake is set. Upright position, seatbelt secure, doors closed and locked, flight controls free and correct. So probably turn IQ con there. Seeing those move. And seeing the rudder move. Excellent, all good. Flight instruments is nothing in the red. And we've got our barometric pressure. That's better. Altimeter set. We're not going to be. We're just going to be doing a hand fly today. Sound management is check. Fuel quantity is check. Mixture is set to full rich. Fuel selector to both. Autopilot engage. Autopilot disengage. So autopilot on. Move against AP. AP disconnect. Flight director is off. Elevator trim. Neutral for takeoff. Alright, throttle. Set to 1800 RPM. Done. Magnetos. 150 drop. Check back to both. Gauges all check. Engine indicators are in the green. Voltmeters looking good. Engine idle. Sitting around 650 RPM. Set up for 1000 RPM. Excellent. Alright, there we go. Checklist is done. Alright, so now we can do our takeoff now. Our flaps set to our takeoff there. The full runway here at Renton.
Generic 9er, Tree Charlie, cleared to land runway 34, wind calm. Cleared to land runway 34, generic
let's
9er,
go.
Tree Charlie.
Clear the runway for that aircraft on final. You're getting that impression of the actual sort of the undulating nature of the runway here. Gentle ease back on the yoke. Flying runway heading. Very smooth gentle takeoff there. Now we have to be careful, of course, that we don't bust SeaTac airspace. And conflicting traffic there. right turn here. So that is something that sometimes I have noticed, is that the winds, the sim reports, especially when you have the live feed from traffic, is that sometimes that traffic can conflict with what you have in the sim. I'm going to fly up here for a little bit, and then we're going to turn. We're going to head along. Now, let's give my bearings here from when I was flying through here.
Renton Tower, generic November 619er, tree Charlie is going missed. Generic 9er, tree Charlie, contact Seattle approach on 120.4. Generic 9er, tree Charlie.
So our first step is that we're going to head over to the lakes just on the other side of this mountain ridge here, this ridge here. You really get the sense of, like, when you're actually flying through here, you actually, that's the thing with this, with Microsoft Flight Simulator, is that
Alpha 24, you are leaving my airspace, frequency change approved.
Thank you very much. You actually get the feeling, like, looking at this lighting, just looking at this lighting and seeing how, like, over there to our left there, you can see down there that you've actually got the different lighting changing on the ground based on how thick the cloud is above it. Like, that's something that is just, that's the incredible subtle detail that you don't really notice is missing until now you see it, and suddenly it brings you that realism. Now we're going to be flying over here. Now we're heading towards the mountains over there, because I do believe there should be some falls over there.
Copy, Cessna Alpha 24.
And it's going to give us a good chance to be able to get some feelings and see some of the cloud interactions with the mountains as well.
Seattle approach, Dow 1240 is missed approach at Seattle. Ace 9er 7, you are 300 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 6,000 feet altimeter, tree 0.1 tree. Dow 1240, you are 2 miles north. Climb and maintain 6,000 feet. Keep speed below 2 tree 0 knots. Expect ILS runway tree 4 right approach via sun for transition. Cleared to sun. Seattle approach, Cessna November Oscar Victor Alpha 24. Request clearance to transition Bravo airspace.
And I remember getting clearance to transition
November
that.
Oscar Victor Alpha 24 Seattle approach. Cleared through the Bravo airspace. Dow 1240, climb and maintain 6,000 feet. Keep speed below 2 tree 0 knots. Cleared through Bravo airspace, Cessna Alpha 24.
And this is actually some of the cool things that I really like about this sim as well, is the fact that even having that AI engaging with the ATC like that, is the fact that you can actually learn, for people who sort of want that immersion sort of kind of factor. This is a good way to get it, because it means that you actually hear people who listen to ATC actually program this to actually be able to come out and be able to sound like this as well. Now we're going to trim our aircraft down a little bit for our altitude.
UAL 1007 Seattle approach, continue to Josta as planned, altimeter tree 0.1 tree.
The other great thing that the thing about this that I'm really finding this a great sensation is the actual slight bumping and jostling. That is something that is really difficult to emulate from a desktop sim, and being able to do that with this aircraft, and have that motion, have that feeling, is something that's just, it really is noticeable, especially when you're going over different terrain types, to see how that changes. So we're interested to see once we get closer to these mountains here. So I'm just going to trim the aircraft down a little bit. Probably just trim it out around about 3,800.
5,800 feet generic. Report them in sight. Down 1240, you are 600 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 6,000 feet altimeter, tree 0.1 tree.
As we approach the mountains here, it's actually really a good chance you can actually see the buffeting that we're starting to get from the winds. Although the winds are fairly calm, you actually feel that turbulence building off the mountain and off the edge of the mountain range as well. So we'll turn so we don't have a solid collision there. But it's also, again, another good indicator of seeing how it gently, sort of the low cloud coming into the top, masking the tops of those peaks. And then also, as we can see here, the actual lighting engine just really showing off that, you know, the fact that it's dynamic, and when it breaks through the clouds, it actually shows through that as well. Like, this is the kind of stuff we've all been wanting for so long, and to have this is all out of the box as part of this sim is just so exciting. And as I said, I really want to show off that. I really wanted to show this off because I feel this bumping, that sensation of movement, because this is what I felt when I actually flew through this area. And just giving and looking out here, looking out the window here, this is the terrain that I saw. Like, this is the reality of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to head back towards Seattle now. We're going to have a look, see if we can see a couple of landmarks as well on our way back, and then see if we can sort of chase some of those sun patches as well as we come through here. So as we're heading back, we're just taking a bit of a detour here because this is one of the, as I said, this is the flight that I actually got to take when I was last year in Washington, and sort of, you know, being able to recreate this in a way and recognizing landmarks, following the river, seeing the falls here as well. Like, this is what really sort of really brings. I suppose also in a way some other, you know, X-Planes had this option as well with ortho for a while, but this is so much more. It connects so much more. Seeing this, flying over this, you know, the river formation, the actual falls itself, you know, this is literally exactly what I was flying over. Oops, pull back on the stick a little too much. So actually sort of living and seeing that and seeing what it's like and seeing the lighting exactly how I remember it. Like, this is such a powerful emotion that it's actually bringing up here. You know, we've got the buffeting of the aircraft. It's funny. I think of the Microsoft FSX logo as, you know, as real as it gets. I feel that line, that tagline, was created a generation too early. That tagline belongs with this sim. It really does. Okay, enough of me memory lane. Let's head back towards Seattle now and have a look at some. I think, maybe just test the performance a little bit of this sim. Now, it wouldn't be a flight around Seattle in a Microsoft Flight Simulator without at least flying over the Microsoft Redmond campus, which we're going to get to do at the moment as we head towards Seattle. But you really get a sense of how, again, it feels, in some ways, I feel like I'm just rehashing territory that everybody else is covering, but it really does strike me the fact that, you know, we're seeing all these individual houses and buildings modeled, and this is how I remember seeing them. Like, this is the thing here, is that, yes, okay, my memories might be a little bit fuzzy, I'm getting a bit old, but that's a really incredible thing to actually be able to sort of have that level of detail here and be able to look at that and see that and say, yeah, okay, that looks like what it looks like. Yeah, yes, I know it is part of that yes, it's, you know, ortho imagery, but it's not just the ortho imagery. It's about what you do with that ortho imagery, and it's about how you sort of add all those buildings on and stuff like that. To be able to see that and actually see the Microsoft campus, you know, to actually sort of see it there with all the buildings is sort of like, that's a huge deal. Like, to be able to see that recreated, and that's just all standard. As I said, like, this is just standard. And part of this series, we're going to be exploring some other, maybe less covered areas to see how well the simulator actually covers those areas as well. I know a friend of mine who's also a developer, you know, he was flying over Portland. He found a single tree that he planted 20 years ago. He found it in the sim. Like, that's the kind of level here that we're getting to with this sim. It is absolutely insane. It has a few tweaks, you know, quirks here and there. But overall, this sim is just looking absolutely amazing. just turn a little bank to the left there. So we can see the lights of SeaTac over there in the distance.
Niner 7, you are 300 feet below your assigned altitude. Climb and maintain.
Now we see the lights of the nav lights of aircraft on approach, and so and they're coming into land there. So it's really, really fascinating. Now what we might do is we might we'll bust some airspace and we'll go and have a quick look at downtown Seattle before we head back to Renton for our landing today. Now at the same time, of course, it does have some issues. Like for example, there should be a bridge there, so it's definitely, that's awkward because there should be a bridge there. Yeah, I think the guys need to check their local area a little bit better. So let's have a look at the Space Needle and see how that looks. This feels so weird, and again, this feels so surreal because having flown into SeaTac several times over the years, actually knowing this approach, definitely not flying it the way I'm supposed to fly it as in a tube liner, but being able to fly up and see these buildings and see these areas that I've spent time in and overflown is just such an awesome, surreal experience. And again, that sense of the light sort of changing as you fly up different levels or thicknesses of cloud is such an amazing experience. Of course, we can see the iconic Space Needle there. So we'll do a quick circuit around that, and then we'll head back to Renton for our landing today.
Down 1240, you are 300 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 6,000 feet altimeter, 30.13. Descend and maintain 6,000 feet down 1240.
Just capturing all of that feeling and just having it to be so damn smooth as this image. Like, this is the thing, is that the benchmark test for the Microsoft Flight Simulator family has always been go to Seattle and see if it breaks, because if your sim settings can stand being here in Seattle, then you can stand pretty much everything. And this is just lapping it up, like just no issues at all. Like even in prepared with my rig, it struggles here in SeaTac. So to have this sim on my rig, as I said now, I have an i9 with a 1080, original 1080, not a TI, an original 1080, and it's just smooth as silk here. That is just, that's crazy to have it look this good and feel this good. That is just absolutely crazy. It genuinely is. Circling over some those stadiums there. Watch out for the traffic circling over towards Boeing Field. So we're going to exit airspace. Traffic below us.
Niner 7 traffic alert. 9 o'clock, less than 1 mile, 6,300 feet generic. Report them in sight.
Oh, we're 1,500 feet.
Niner 7, you are 300 feet below your assigned altitude.
Probably again, one of those quirks that I have noticed is that a lot of the aircraft are just simply labelled when ATC talk about them, they just call them generic, and that's probably something that it's a little bit weird, but you know, I get it, but it is a little bit weird from time to time. There he goes underneath me, so we're clear of that Cessna. Boeing Field over there in the distance.
Niner 7 traffic in sight.
This is just feeling this, flying this again. It's just, Like, even as I said, like, I was here, like, here doing this before, and I'm just like, this is just insane how amazing this is. And just looking over here again to the left is just, this is such a confluence, this sim. It really is such a confluence, because we're having the visuals that we've all strived for with the flying experience that we strive for desktop sims. It's just, it's just insanely amazing. Okay, what we should do though is we should probably do for get our landing started. So let's contact Tower of Renton.
Renton Tower, Cessna November Oscar Victor Alpha 24 is 5 miles northwest with Alpha to land. Cessna November Oscar Victor Alpha 24 Renton Tower, fly left downwind runway tree 4, altimeter tree 0.1 tree wind calm. Fly left downwind runway tree 4 Cessna Alpha 24.
Alright, now what you just saw pop up there was something that I did want us to show off, because it actually is one of the features you can add in here, where you can actually add in a visual approach markers to sort of assist you as you're learning as well, or even if you just want to check how you're doing, to be able to guide you into approaches and stuff like that. So this is a really nifty kind of thing, and I really did want to show it off to you guys. So I'd wanted to show it off. I was going to show it off in a different video, but I guess I've forgotten I'd left it turned on. So there we go. You get it in the first video as well. Alright, so let's throttle back. Mixture full reach. And what I should do is we'll do our checklists. Oh, it doesn't have a pre-landing checklist. Well, there you go. Okay, it's one checklist that it doesn't have. So we'll never mind that checklist then. Okay. I've got landing lights on. Throttle back. And it helps you with giving you that information if you're on speed, too fast, too slow. We'll make sure we get into the wide arc before we start dropping our flaps. My real life landing here was on runway 16, so I haven't actually done this approach. I had a straight in approach over the island before, so we'll see how I
Cessna
go
Alpha
this one.
24 cleared to land runway tree 4, wind calm. Cleared to land runway tree 4 Cessna Alpha 24.
Base. A little fast in the final here.
500.
One white, one red, on slope. Stall speed is 40 knots in this configuration. There we go, down back here at Renton.
Cessna Alpha 24, turn next taxiway.
Right. I know we're going to have to be going off to the left here. Clean the aircraft up.
Cessna Alpha 24, contact ground on 121.6. 121.6 for Cessna Alpha 24.
Alright, let's get parking.
Renton ground, Cessna November Oscar Victor Alpha 24, taxi to parking. Cessna November Oscar Victor Alpha 24, taxi to general aviation parking by taxiway Alpha 5 Alpha Alpha 7 cross runway tree 4 Bravo 7. Taxiing to general aviation parking via taxiway Alpha 5 Alpha Alpha 7 cross runway tree 4 Bravo 7 Cessna Alpha 24.
Looks like they're not going to park us at the same place we left. That's alright. Alrighty, so as we taxi along. So reflecting on that flight, and we'll try not to hit the ground vehicles we pass by. It's just the feeling of that flight is just really fascinating. As I said, especially the confluence that I'm finding of visuals with the don't get me wrong, there's no replacement. You can't replace real flying with this, like you can't. However, this is this to be honest is really deserves the title of as real as it gets. It genuinely does, because the vibration, the jumping that it has when you go over sort of, you know, more larger flat areas and stuff like that. It has its quirks, such as random vehicle here, which is just chilling on the side here. We may have to go around here. Oh, no, here we go. He's rolling. It definitely has its quirks. It definitely has its quirks. Some of the interaction between, like, having live aircraft being fed into this and live traffic being fed into this is just such a cool thing. How the sim interacts with said live traffic is, I think, still a work in progress. But still, bringing that to life, not just with, like, you know, generic sort of AI traffic, but actual stick your head out the window, you can actually see the same aircraft there that is actually, like, in the sim, that is actually flying in the real world. Like, that's so damn cool. and stuff like that. It's really, as I said, it's just really starting to blur those lines, and it just feels so surreal and amazing. And as I said, I think that this is the sim that Microsoft tagline was waiting for, with as real as it gets. I think this is the sim it was waiting for. It genuinely was. All right, let's. The reason why I picked the parking is because I did want to hopefully show off something, and I hope this doesn't go pear-shaped on us. But let's see. It is going to go a little pear-shaped on us, I think, because we're not going to see. Are we going to see? I don't think we're going to see it, because I think they put this parking inside a building. That's really awkward. Alright, well, I guess this is going to be interesting. This is an interesting way. As I said, there are some quirks and some bugs with this one, folks. There are a couple. Let's see how this one goes. We can't actually park because that's a solid building. So I guess we're going to end this flight here. That's really awkward. So folks, that is my first flight here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, a big disclaimer, as I said, we saw... this is still, at the end of the day, this is still a beta. Like, we are still in a beta state. We are not at a full release state yet. We still have a couple of weeks to go. So I think that overall, yeah, we definitely saw some bugs today in this first flight, and we said we've got a stack of more flights we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks, and I look forward to bringing that to you. But overall, I'm still really impressed by what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling. So I hope to see you guys on future episodes as this series continues. As I said, lots more content coming, and if there's anything that you want to see before release date on the 18th, please drop a comment down below, and I'll see if I can get to it in the next few days. Alright folks, thanks very much for joining me. Don't forget, as always, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these videos, if you want to see more. And I do want to say, once again, a huge shout out and a huge thank you to the team at Microsoft for giving me access to this sim before release, to be able to bring it to you guys, and the team at Honeycomb Aeronautical for provision of their yoke, their alpha yoke. Alright folks, as I said, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.